they may ask us, are you going to cover? If that question gets raised, that's something that we need to address. But I think priority is to address academic youth. And we're doing it. So that's how we show what we are. We're doing something every day. Every day it's a new story. We wake up and it's a new story. And so, I know y'all might be getting something and you said, well, last time you heard X. Well, that's what you heard last time. That's what we knew. This is what it is today. We're doing everything that we can to do as quickly as we possibly can. If we want them to work 24 hours a day, we can consider doing that at a cost. But at this point, we're moving forward, and hopefully we'll get the majority of 46.
Two questions. One, whenever the city, they know our predicament. I assume they know we're going to do the third party inspection. Do they already have the thought that we're going to start without the building permit? Or do they think we're going to wait for that and then do the city and have a third party?
So, this was a suggestion involved in the inspector. Here's what we're going to do. Inspector, we'll let you go, etc. Still need permits.
So, first question is, we have two contractors working right now. We have a potential of that. Or that third contractor in other areas that we don't delay the other. I'm trying to get through this whole mess possible, and I want to get the offsite back on site as quickly as possible. I don't want everybody on top of each other and messing things up, and I want to be new. But I also don't want the things that are there that are, and work around what's not fixed, and I want them, I want to be working on their things as well. The priority is to make sure that we get the ones that are on site first. I agree with that. That's the other things that we need to do. So my thought is if we can have another contractor that can work within all this mess, going over the other ones, or expedite what we're trying to do with the outside. Last time.
So yes, so that has been discussed. In fact, Austin High Tech as well as Infinite indicate they're actually going to hire another contractor to do some of the work, so they'll share the work and get that accomplished. We've also discussed, actually we do 24 hours a day, but as I stated within the email, it's going to be the 46, then the balance of the 87 less the 46, because they were the ones identified with the most damage, and then certainly the balance up to 119, which is another 32. We do have other apartments where people are living in that have a lot less damage, where it might be just some sheetrock that needs to be repaired, or they need to have their cabinets put back. And so we are kind of gauging if we can get another contractor in to do that as well, without losing control of the process, because the more the contractors, the more difficult it is to coordinate. But yes, we're looking at that, and it's kind of like on a weekly basis. If it's need, we need to step that up. We'll do it. Quite frankly, it's basically throwing money at it to make it happen.
Well, I would try to avoid the 24-hour thing. Have tenants. I mean, that's going to disrupt kids' sleep. It's going to disrupt everything. If I was listening to I was trying not to make matters worse, but
Possibility to use, do something. No, sir, we're short staffed. We're short staffed, we wouldn't be able to. You don't have to. No, definitely. Robert, I think you said that there is a contract with the old permit. We're not using that contract with them. Like at the beginning of your talk, that there was a contract that we're working on usually.
Originally, McDonald's property management at the time of deal in Texas. Restaurant. They have not, March or April, they have not been paid for the work that they. Getting work completed and resolving the problem, and then the rest is going to work itself out. One day.
Yeah, we could go ahead and appoint you.
We can start saying, we're going to be able to fight for 2 years. We will have a few check bombs. Yeah.
Anything else on the? We covered, okay, we have one item A. That's, well, we have one more issue. Probably wanted to share the insurance claim. Email.
So, you know, update on where we are. Last time we reported to the board, we submitted a partial square after the loss. That amount was $5,004,000. The insurance company had 30 days to respond to us. If they have responded, with an additional reservation of rights, they did provide to us $1,200,000 Obviously, we asked for 504, we got no 2, the issue of, okay, we asked for that, and you gave us this. There is a certain amount where the insurance company is, at their early stages of identifying the work that was done back in March. And so really the amount that they're reimbursing us for is really the work done back in March, although we have $5-6 million that we've done since then. One of the problems that we ran into, just so that you understand, when all the pipes burst, it might be aware that it's very difficult to get any plumbers out to any facility. And so actually the offsite maintenance people did a lot of work. Sweating the pipes, et cetera, turning off the water, doing whatever they could. The problem is that was not as well documented as what was done with the contractor in Texas. And so now the insurance company is saying, well, Soul, who was out there, pointed out what they did. It said, is that all y'all did? Yeah. Well, there's other stuff here. We tried to get the maintenance stuff no longer works for to come out and start to point that out. They were refusing to go back and get a specialist to do forensics and say, based upon all this damage, this is obviously what happened. And so we need to document that. Concerned that they want to differentiate between the two. Because they're separate claims. Yeah. So I would say they're analyzing it today. The adjuster has been out there since,
Okay. All right, we'll talk about
even I was talking since May. We filed the claim April the 4th, they responded April 9th. This is the extent of what they've done. They, in my opinion, are way behind, and this is probably not unusual.
So in essence, they're gonna let you live with that negligent in the sense that we filed it in April and they didn't get there until May. So
They're not going to see it that way, but I certainly understand what you're saying. What?
I think we wait another 30 days and get somebody in the legal side, send it a little nasty around and say.
So what I would like to do, and I think there is enough material to cover.
So you're saying the speakers were.
Consider another meeting just to.
And I'll advance this one.
We have a lot of information to provide to the board as far as where we are, what our options are, and maybe what and other parties to field all your questions after we've laid out.
Out there and they come back with $1.3 million or something like that.
Absolutely, and we anticipated this and have done a lot of groundwork towards that, and we have a lot to share.
It's probably gonna end up costing us $10 million and I don't
Absolutely.
have you ever hired the intermediary or talking about to argue with the insurance company or still?
No, we are not dealing with them directly. Under the policy, the TML insurance policy, we were not able to use a public adjuster. However, we hired Strategic Claims, which is a consultant who who filed all the paperwork on our behalf, which is part of the sworn affidavit of claim 504. They are continuing to represent us in that capacity. And certainly TML has a very detailed list of what that 504 is. It's just that they're over here and we're over here, and we continue to move forward with additional claims. So yes, they are aware of it. We have filed, hired that consultant, and they're performing that function for us.
Is there consideration of an outside counsel do an RFP?
We want to discuss all of that, and yes, we have gone down the road of all the possibilities that might happen.
And we recommend at this next meeting that we get some proposals for some attorneys.
We can certainly discuss all those, and we will be in a position to do that. We are now.
I wanted to consider it now, so when we get to the meeting, we have to make a decision, do we hire an attorney or do we not?
That will all be discussed, and yes, we have all the background and all the options to present to the board already.
Honestly, I thought we had already done that. I'm kind of shocked that we haven't done that yet. I don't understand why we haven't.
Yeah, I would really like to discuss it at another meeting, and I think we can lay all that out. Pardon me?
It's legal. It's not on the agenda, so-
Correct.
Yeah, I was not posted for consideration. I think the question would be if there was some discussion about guidance about procuring or securing someone to assist us. And the question would be, would you do it through a competitive solicitation, or would you be fine with us securing that person, ourselves without going through that process? I guess where we are right now. So we have identified someone who potentially could do that work for us. What we're saying is, if we want to meet to discuss some of the details of what we found out to date, we can do that. Or if you would want us to be more formal in the approach, we can go through that process as well. But we do have someone we think could serve the needs of what we, address the needs here. So if maybe we could just schedule a quick special meeting to talk about that in detail, or if we want to, however you want to proceed. Obviously timing is the essence, but it could wait. It's not, it'll just be out there until we resolve it. So I guess it'll be up to the board. That's how you want us to proceed with it.
Generally speaking, you can get the lawyer to send you an RF or something just to see where you are. I'd like to see, as opposed to just, I know you've discussed it with possibly one attorney, but at least see what the options are before when we come to sit down, we can be more informed about the decisions, because lawyers, there's a dime a dozen out there. Some are good, some are not so good.
So we're prepared to discuss it. And so just as soon as board members can set up a special meeting to discuss it.
Robert, I think you're talking about having at least more than one. So we might need a little time to do that. So maybe in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll work it out.
Okay, we will follow up with you all. We'll follow up with you.
We have a couple on retainer. We have Lockwood and we have Cliffs.
We have some we need specialists, but we have one.
Well, I know, Lockwood has an army, so.
Sure.
They have a bunch on there.
Okay, we could probably do it in maybe a week now.
And it would be an executive session
Yeah.
to discuss. So that's really why I'm.
There's Reed Smith here in town. There's a whole bunch of insurance. Anyway, I would like to do this as soon as possible, but I'd also just like to get some tips, proposals out from attorneys to see percentages and, we don't want to give up, we got a $10 million claim, we don't want to give up a third of that either.
Absolutely, time is of the essence, and so, within the next 2 weeks is, I would love to do it sooner than that. I mean, we are prepared to present something to you. In fact, we thought we might be doing it today. And, but I think it's best considered an executive session.
Exactly, that decision to go to sign the.
Well, absolutely. So,
We'll discuss a meeting
Yeah,
after we go through the agenda, and then we can determine, maybe by that time, I'd like to take a look at least a couple of options, we got lock law, we got, and do a first group, and then the retail. At least get some options before we just hone in on one. That's what's happened to us in the past, we've just been grabbing for stuff. With contractors and everything hadn't fell in properly. So you may take an extra day or two, just get, someone that's gonna have all this interested in. Any questions, comments? Okay. Anything else, Mr. President? Do we have the A and B under action item 5? 6 at least.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. We're up to resolution number SHFC 2021-15. Their discussion on that, and it's the safe issuance and delivering of one or more multifamily housing revenue bonds. So, who's doing that?
yes, sir. So last board meeting, we had similar language. And what this represents is that we're reaching out and trying to secure and issue $2 million in bonds for Rosemont and Oak Valley for the purpose of taking care of additional repairs and providing additional debt service. When we went to tax council with regard to doing this, there were some issues with regard to the priorities of the liens, et cetera, so as to do it as expeditiously as possible. After tax council looked at it, they said, gee, I'd really like for you to tweak the resolution to be more specific. This is exactly what we're doing. We're not changing what we're doing. We just, the language itself is more complete and appropriate for tax council to do exactly what we approved before. So what we're doing is approving a new resolution, but the action is still the same.
So you're
Recommending approval on both of them, and I guess we need to take them one at a time for approval processes.
we're dealing with 15 right now.
Right.
Is there a motion?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
This is the same money that we were talking about borrowing from.
Yes, sir. And all this is just tweaking the resolution to meet.
We're doing it with farm.
Yes,
I want to make sure it wasn't different.
it is not.
Any other questions?
I'll look for approval.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Okay, resolution SHFC 2021-16. Do you have any other comments on that?
Not really, same thing as 15.
Any questions from anyone? Hearing none, entertain a motion. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Resolution C, which is SHFC 2021-17, approval of the policy statement on affordable housing development as a draft. You taking that?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Okay. Have a lot of discussion about this. So back in April, you all approved policy statements on affordable housing, primarily with the goal of trying to create a revenue stream for the development, future development of deeply affordable units. It was apparent that maybe there was, because of the way it was written, that maybe some of the language could be more clear as to the intent. Even though I think the discussion was probably clarity, I didn't find itself necessarily in the statements themselves. It was primarily statement 2. There was 3 statements, but statement 2 was what was the issue that some had we wanted to get more clarity. I did speak. The real estate committee did talk about this and generally felt okay with what we had, what was there. So what I've done is I've included it in what essentially would be option 1, which is the current option, only with the clarification, only with a little bit of clarification. Whereby in option 1, essentially all projects, current projects and future projects, you would be setting aside 10% of the proceeds for the development of deeply affordable units. When I spoke to the executive committee, there was an interest in that and putting it back on the agenda. So we have included 2 other options for policy statement 2. The second of which would be is potentially looking at all projects, but maybe reducing that number to 5%. If you all are more inclined to do that. And then option 3 essentially talks about only looking at future projects as of the date of the resolution's passage, which would be essentially the way it was previously, only with the addition of the word future, which was applied. However, to be more clear, it'd be future projects as of the 25th of March. And then I just put in the date so that it could just be that was the passage. So again, just summarize again, the first, I'm sorry. The first one essentially talks about the same application, but looking at all projects that have been completed. The third looks at only the projects that have been consummated as of the 25th of March, which is the date of the resolution's passage. And then 2 is a hybrid that talks about current and future at 5% actually, which would minimize the impact if you wanted to look at all projects. And the reason why I've included that is because of some of the challenges associated with only applying it to certain projects as opposed to all, in terms of just tracking that versus applying it across the board for all revenue coming in going forward. But these are just options for consideration. Hopefully it provides more clarity than what it previously had. And obviously if you all want to think about those things just based on what the original intent was, I believe, it's there in one of the 3 options.
Why did you want to talk on this? Because I think we'll consider putting it on the agenda for today. I'll see what your feelings are and your thoughts and what we understand. I don't remember what we agreed on totally.
Well, when I originally voted on this to support it, I was supporting the 10% on all future deals, not being retroactive back to what we had done in the past. If we had put it in there to actually state it was for everything retroactive, then my decision would be different on approval. So my idea on this was we were making a motion on everything going forward. But since that time, that's not how we've been doing it. I think accounting has been taking everything retroactively, and that's what drew my attention to this. So, you know, my reservation is that I don't believe that's how, or at least that's how it was presented. And so I'm looking at it going forward. Now, compromise to that is, you know, we could look at it as everything closed as of that time, and I would compromise to that, but again, that wasn't how it was written either. But that would at least be a compromise to it, and not take everything that was retroactive. That's completely included.
You're on the real estate committee, Eric, and so you'll discuss this, what it is.
I'm having trouble reading that from here. Do you mind reading the actual, what we passed? Not the other options, but just what we had.
What we passed looks very similar to policy statement. Number 2, option 3. I'm gonna start at the word "the."
Read it out.
I am, sir. I'm about to get there. Give me, building up for. So this SHFC shall set aside a minimum of 10% of all proceeds generated via all real estate transactions to include development fees, the issuance of all future 4% multifamily revenue bonds, and all revenue real estate transactions to be specifically utilized for the benefit of extremely low income households, including the development of deeply affordable housing units. Emphasis shall be placed on acquiring or developing units to be owned by HATC or SHFC to achieve the policy mission.
I agree with Robbie that the intent was future. I had no idea we were gonna go back retroactively. And I don't think we ever discussed that before. I think I'm the one that recommended 10% of all the deals. We were talking about 50% of some and none of others. I said it's too confusing. Are we, when you said accounting is treating it differently, are you all separating the funds? Literally separating the funds into a different account? Or you just accounting?
Yes, setting aside.
Yes, you are.
And,
Speak up, Subra.
yeah, the way I had read the original policy was, you know, all proceeds generated via all real estate transactions. That means that any money that came in after this resolution was approved, you know, I took 10% and set it aside. That's the way I read the policy. And so I wish it said all future transactions or all future real estate transactions. That might have been more clear to me. And I might have, you know, just misread it, but you know, that's the way I took it with the current policy. It said all real estate transactions. So it didn't matter to me if it was, you know, retroactive, if it was an old project or new project, whatever money that came in. After this resolution was approved, I took 10% of it.
Yeah, I
And that
understand
would
your
be
line.
that would be an easy way for me to do it too, for accounting to do it too. If you're just picking all future projects, then I would have to identify, you know, one particular, okay, this project is a future project, because we are constantly getting money in, whether it's an old project or a new project. It's easier for me to just take 10% across the board. But if I have to identify future projects, then I have to know, okay, this is a project that happened after March 23rd. It's a little bit more cumbersome. It would be easier for me to do it if it's a percentage of all projects. I mean, I'm just not talking for myself, it's also for anybody else who comes in the future too.
So when Robbie said future deals,
Mhm.
you interpreted that to mean future cash coming in.
Well,
Or you just interpreted what it says, all
Yeah.
deals.
I'm just going by what the policy says. It
Okay.
says
That makes
all
sense.
proceeds generated via all real estate transactions. So to me, any money that came in after March 31st, after this resolution was approved, I applied it across the board.
Thank you, sir. Did you have something?
I just wanted to remind the board that this was not set in concrete, this was a goal to achieve. We want to set money aside for board now. It's up to the board to decide if we want to put it all in there or not. Even on a transaction by transaction basis. We're not making that decision every time because we don't discuss every deal that comes up. But if you have a problem with it and you want to change it,
Well, when we voted on it, it was, we voted on it, as I said, we were going forward because we made that decision at that time.
but in your mind, that meant deals we were gonna do in the
Right,
future, not
because-
cash it. I mean,
Yeah, that we were making from that time forward, we were gonna start taking,
yeah, I don't think that was really clear to anybody. I'm not sure we even discussed it.
John, what are your thoughts? Do you remember what happened?
No, not now, it's not. Option, so.
I can live where you live. Frankly, it's up to the board. If we think there's too much money in that fund, then we move it.
I'm not saying that it's too much money or not, just that's not how I,
You want to get it clear.
and normally if you're gonna say, that something's retroactive, you'll say that it's retroactive back to.
John had some comments.
No, I'm just being clear, it's a policy, this. How, are we tight or something, or it's just?
Yeah, listen,
Recommendation, I guess I'm not clear.
you all voted to take action and direct staff to do so. So if you could repeal the.
Yeah, direct or recommend.
No, it's a board policy. So we're following suit. Let me tell you what I recall. I do believe that the intent was for it to be future. And I think, because we were wordsmithing as you all recall, the word future ended up in front of the word 4%, not in front of the entirety, because I think initially we were talking about just bond projects. And I think maybe it was yourself, Mr. Carey, who said, well, why don't we include all money transacted, the application fees and everything else. And it just didn't find itself in that list, in terms of where it was in the statement. But I think the intent was for it to be going forward as of the date of the resolution.
So basically what you're saying, and based on what Bobby's saying, and everything, option 3 is the one that we should go with.
Well, and the only thing that I've done is just add the word future just to make it a little bit maybe more clear, and then just put the resolution in so that you won't have to go and look for whatever the date was. It will be included.
So at this point, I'll entertain a motion to select which option we want. I think option 3 beats that, all right?
Well, it meets the intent that
If
I
it
was
is-
approved. I don't know if it meets the intent that you all would.
We don't remember, so
I don't really have a problem either way. Okay, to me, it doesn't make sense.
Well, the compromise was that if you wanted to, you could do 5%, which may be another compromise, and that's why I included the possibility, even though we didn't talk about that.
let's do the 10%, and we all agreed on that, and I think we've got a motion from Robbie. Is there a second? Okay, all those in favor?
Wait, what, would you, what is the
Option
Not number 3.
Number 3.
that goes for all future years and not retroactive.
Now, we can leave whatever money is there now in there, if we can we? Not, since
Well, I would reverse that because I think that's gonna make things more confusing, because if you actually make a cutoff date, then the deals that, you're not confusing the issue. Everything goes forward from a certain date.
okay, well, that's fine. I'm good with that. You
So
okay?
we're directing Sue to go back and recalculate
That shouldn't be a problem.
It's not that much.
It's
We
not.
passed the ordinance, we will comply.
Okay, well, we've got a motion, we've got a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, well, it's done. Thank you. Okay. Number 7, Executive Vice President's report. That's Robert. Is that you? Give that.
Yes, pending and existing and pending future multi-family.
Sure. So I'm going to brief on, by exception, with regard to the existing portfolio. One of the things that I want to tell you, which is good news, since we don't always talk about good news, is Dill Valley 969 did convert into a permanent loan. I had projected that we would only make $1 million in developer's fee. I underestimated that. We actually made $1.3 million in the form of 2 checks. So that's good news. Also, that we have Colorado Creek, which is rolling into a Freddie Mac permanent loan. So we should receive the balance of the developer's fee on that, followed by Creekview, which is coming, probably would be towards the end of the year. Then after that, we have Manchac and Commons of Maynard, and they're in lease up. So the good thing is we're starting to see this portfolio roll, convert, and receive additional money. So we project that we will receive a good portion of those proceeds this year, and we certainly need it because we're spending it.
We'll be able to pay off what we just spent on roads. Yeah.
I certainly hope so.
$10 million, right?
Well, we are projected to bring in 7, so that's not bad. So, and then as far as potential deals, we do have the Interport deal, which is the one bond deal. And we are talking to several applicants who are talking about putting applications in for the 2022 bond lottery, but understand it will take almost 2 years for that to close once we do the inducement resolution. So we do have a gap in our bond and 4% marketing. However, we are trying to backfill it with PFC transactions, and Keith is going to talk about 2 transactions that we have under a PFC structure, which we will hopefully be closing here by the end of the year.
I will say this, Gene Latchat from Kentcore called THCA duty yesterday in the morning because they were their single family. So
She did what? I'm sorry.
she called them greedy and asked them to give some of their single family money up there.
It sounds like pretty exciting.
Gene, I was yelling for it, but yay, she's had her again. Yeah,
Okay.
she
So-
tried, it didn't work, but she tried.
So that's really the potential that we have with regard to strategic and bond at 4%, and we'll cover the other under the PFC structure. And so then I'm through with A and B, and I think C is the finance. So
Real quick, I know it's provided to you, but
Did we go ahead and how many are you talking about the PLC deals?
I'm not right now. I was following up with some
I
HFC information.
did you- huh?
I was following up with some HFC information.
Yeah, we should do that at we'll do that at the HFC. Let's get over it. There we go. We have
We're
a
doing-
HFC meeting.
We're doing strategic right now, aren't we?
Yeah,
Okay, that's our HFC.
no, I'm saying we have a HFC meeting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Under real estate, we want to move to the Travis County Facilities Corporation. I think that meeting needs to be open.
No, I think we're still.
No, we're still, we got one more item.
Actually, before we move on to that, it's with-
Oh, you want to talk about that?
no, just.
Oh, rotated, yes. Oh, independent. Thank you. I know. Yes, yes, man, I know, I'm so sorry.
Is that, again,
So just clarification, and Keith will be very quick on it. What he was trying to do is to address the asset management on our existing portfolio and just say what the occupancy levels are, et cetera. And that's really what he was trying to address with strategic under the existing affordable.
Yeah, I thought he was talking about the P.
Yeah, so
Go ahead.
Yeah,
That's appropriate. Okay.
Current occupancy is at 93%, which is pretty good overall for the portfolio, given what we've been through. It's actually 1 percentage point bump up. We've got a couple of properties that are now included in that list that weren't included in it previously. And they are performing very well. Robert just referred to 2 of them that are going to be closing. And currently in lease up, I just want to throw this out. Commons at Manor is at 14% pre-leased, and Manchac Commons Apartments is already at 52% pre-leased and leased. So that's going well.
what's our issue there with Silver Springs and Lee County?
what's the issue?
Yeah, why are we, you know, 85, 82?
On Silver Springs, that property, it has been hanging around that number. And I have been working with the management company. They've had a few changes out there, but I have asked them, what can we do from a marketing standpoint, from any kind of concession standpoint? And it's, you know, it's 360 units, and they're dated somewhat. Some of that's going to be addressed by the repairs from the storm damage. I've been out to the property since they completed one of the units, and they look very good, but they've got a lot of them to do. And I think once the units are updated a little bit more, that's going to help lease up. Also, I work with the regional vice president. I probably talk to her every other day, every 2 days, about getting the construction that's underway completed and making sure that we're doing our best to rope people in while that's going on. But right now, I don't think it's going to pull up very much until another 60 days or so, 90 days from now.
That unit's about, those units about 25 years old.
Yes.
Because that's right up there at Palmer and Jaeger.
Yes.
And I-35.
It's a beautiful property. It's just got some age on it.
It's old and it went down, and then they tried to restore it, but somebody bought it and
And I can tell you that the management company's they're listening to us, and they are, if we request something, they're getting it turned around right back to us, and answering any questions that we have.
What's the residents looking like? What is their response? Are you having any interaction with them? Because we don't need another road fund.
No, and no, we don't. The tenants there seem to be pretty content. I haven't heard or seen any kind of incident reports. I haven't had that brought up in any discussions I've had with management. They haven't told me that they're having a problem, and normally, yeah, and I will normally ask that when I go out on site. I'll ask them, you know, are you having any problems or anything out of the ordinary occurring that we need to know about? And
what's the income level?
I don't know what the average income of a tenant is,
But it would have to be.
but it'd have to be below 60%.
Below under the program.
All the units are 60%.
Yeah, it's just that's one of those I saw. You know, we just have trash out there.
Mhm. And whether they're cleaning that up, they got that cleaned up and they maintain it. They know that I may not come in the office, but I may drive through it just to take a look. And so I've addressed those issues with management at the regional level and the property level, and they're doing a good job.
Are they doing their repairs with insurance and reserves? Is that? Doing any other?
They're doing it with
Are
reserves.
are they really having to do, major repairs where they're having to take on additional debt to fix it, or are they doing it with insurance?
It'd be insurance and reserves at this point.
So what's with William?
William Cannon, I had a meeting with them, and their senior VP, of management was on the phone. He called in. And one of the things that's happening to that property is that they have a lot of new product coming up around them. And so that's making it pretty competitive for them. That I've been out, well, I see all the properties, but, I've been out to take a look at that property and just drive through and not tell anybody I was there, just to look around. And the property is well maintained. The rents seem to be competitive. I don't remember exactly what the rent levels were at, but we discussed trying to do some additional marketing and doing some concessions. I think they put in a couple of concessions, but the biggest problem that they're facing right now is that there is new product coming up around.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, is that super?
I'll just brief my exception. We are 13 months into the 18-month fiscal year. I didn't have anything to point out other than other than we have spent 1.1 million on the Rosemont advances to the construction. So that is through July, end of July, and then end of August, it's almost 1.7. Next page. And I will revise the schedule based on today's resolution. To set aside funds from strategic revenue stream. Other than that, I didn't have anything else. Do you have any questions?
Robert, if we spend $1.1 million, you think that's why the insurance company wrote us a check for $1 million? Are they just refunding what we already spent? Or do you know what we already spent?
No, sir. What our partial sworn affidavit of loss is what has been expended by the contractors and invoices. The actual amount that we have advanced to date is closer to 2 million. And as you recall, I've gotten approval to go up to 2.5 million. And so this is reflective what Super has as of a certain date. And we continue to advance money. In fact, I've got.
Didn't you ask for $5 million?
Pardon me?
Didn't you say you asked for $5 million?
That is correct. That is the amount, but what we have funded from equity is right around 2 million at this point. So that's what Super's trying to reflect. But what I'm trying to say is, every day we're having to advance additional funds. And so it's as of a given
I
date.
understand that. My question was, the insurance company, it seems like they're only giving us back what we've actually spent. How they're tracking that, I don't know.
What they're tracking is based upon only what they can verify at this point, which is actually what was previously invoiced back in March. So they're way behind on what we've actually been invoiced for and work that's actually been done. So they've only verified a small portion back in March was sold in BF Austin. And that's what they're saying. We can identify and we can agree on this partial amount. So the two don't meet at all.
They're looking at March numbers, if we're in September now.
Correct.
So that's the difference.
Usually look a year behind, so I'm not too.
Yeah. So we're
I
ahead,
didn't
huh?
mean to interrupt or. Thank you.
Any other questions from Silver? Do you have any action items, Silver? We'll move on. You, unfinished business?
So, sir, other than the meeting we want to have, we can talk about the dates.
When do y'all want to do the upcoming meeting?
What do you want to see when we have somebody to talk about? Send out
Well,
a
yeah,
report.
I mean, we need to collect at least one more. I think we can do that by next week.
Collectively, one more.
At least one more. Mr. Roberts was asking for at least two, maybe two options. We may have a flushed out at least one option.
I think we can flush something out within a week, given, of course, I haven't reached out to, but I think
Can
that's
we-
doable.
Can we say the week of the 13th then? Is that okay for folks?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Are you gonna, Robert, are you gonna be looking at insurance intermediaries and lawyers? Or what do you have?
At this point, it's the latter. Whether there's a mediator, I don't know if that's something that, if it got to legal, that the judge would go for that. Again, I have not approached that question with the lawyers at this point.
How does the 13th look for everybody? The week of the 13th, and then Patrick can tone in on it, and Robert can tone in on the day and get to it. Does that week look pretty open for everybody?
On Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Okay, so you open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. What about you, John and Eddie? Any day that you, I'm open my evenings, both,
Well, that's a good thing.
We're gonna do it Monday or Tuesday.
go for that then.
Okay, we'll send you some times on Monday and Tuesday, ideally in the morning, maybe in a couple afternoons.
You, don't forget to check with Ann and see.
Sure, yes. So the 13th or the 14th right now, ideally, but maybe the 15th as well. That work, Mr. Karen?
The morning's a problem for me, but not all. 10 o'clock.
On the 15th, maybe?
Yeah, we're just discussing one item there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Big one item.
Yeah, well, I understand that. Okay, let's
Okay,
come
we'll
back.
start with Monday.
Come up with a date for us and a time. And
Yes, sir.
what are we looking at? 9, 10 o'clock?
We'll we'll put two morning times into that and one afternoon.
Okay,
So, we'll do that right.
okay, thank you. Okay, item, do you have any reason to go into executive session? Okay, entertain a motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor? Okay.